Break to normal service. Today I wrote off a perfectly good set of forks. See if you can spot the point that I did it while I try not to fucking throw things. Hey lovely people, welcome to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard. That'll be Blue, who is a star, who I am potentially going to sort out the forks today. I'll see how I get on. Over to Phoenix, the Shiver 750. Now, there's a few options, and really, guys and girls, guys, thanks for all your suggestions on what might be causing the bogging out on the backing off of revs, and you know, please keep them coming. I will be working my way through a list. The principal bit that I'm working on though is the exhaust, and the bodge version that I had made up, and where the blowing has come from. So I've got it over the bin because I'm just going to strip off all the wadding and have a look. Now I think under all of this, where you've got the cap bulb, I have wired using normal bodge wire those on, because I didn't have any clips at the time. Now I do have clips now, so I think I'm just going to make it as messy as possible. So really lather it with exhaust gum. Get rid of all this and just see if it seals it up. While it's off, I'm going to measure the hell out of it, because I am going to look at buying a replacement. I want to make sure it's the right one, the right size and everything else. So I'm going to strip all this shit off. I won't film it because it's dull and I need both hands. I've got my gloves on. You know, I'm not big on gloves, but this is fiberglass and it is an irritant and it's just not pleasant stuff. So I'm going to take that off and see what we've got underneath, just show how bad it is, and then potentially lather up a load more, put some clips on, although I have welded them on JB weld over the top, or JB exhaust weld, as in the high temperature stuff over the top. I might just bang some clips on, clip it down a bit more, and then just go for some more exhaust repair. It won't be a final version, excuse me, it won't be the final state. It will just be a temporary while a new one comes, but I really want to get it all off and get it measured and stuff, and we'll see what's underneath. Right, so that's that question answered then. This is what's left of the JB. It's just powder. I wonder if the heat's just been too much for it with it wrapped up. Right, I feel quite good about that, because I can botch a repair. I mean, this, don't get me wrong, this is going to go back on the bike just to see whether or not that's the issue, or it helps the issue, but I can reseal that with gum and see how it goes. Right, and there we go. We're just about the ugliest job in the world, but it is sealed. Now this is entirely a proof of concept. I just want to see if it makes much difference. I mean, it should do. It should certainly be quieter. Yeah, that JB weld just died. I've seen it do that before. Might check the pack to see what temperature it reckons it gets to. But yeah, that just died off. That's probably it for today. I want to give it a good curing session, which is probably more than a day, frankly, because that's pretty extreme heat that gets subjected to. Right, I want to see if I can sort these forks out on Blue. And much later, epoxy little things on bikes that take forever, isn't it? This was just free spinning on the inside of the mudguard, so you can see the kind of side lugs holding it on there. Well, obviously these have broken off over time, so this was just spinning and spinning and spinning, so I've had to cut the bejesus out of it, just to get the end of that bolt enough that I could get it off. What an arseache. What an absolute arseache. But I'm off. So I've just slipped the old guards up. I was slightly concerned about the because there's a little bit of, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, a little bit of light cracking around the top of the dust seals, but actually inside they're fine, absolutely fine. I hate doing fork seals, didn't want to put myself in a situation where I had to do it, and I've managed to avoid it, doesn't need it. Right, I'm going to grab my angle grinder with my little purple pads of power. There you go, my little purple pads of power, and just strip that paint off. I'm not going to piss around with paint strip or anything like that, I'm just going to abrase it off.
It was at this moment Jackson knew. He fucked up.
That's if I don't get showered with cans and shit, because I really need to sort this place out. It's turning into a bit of a shit heap. Right. Yeah, so I'm going to grab my pads, just give that a waz over. Right, so that's about as stripped down as I can get. It's not perfect, but this was a project to be different, but it's my own bike. Probably asking why not take them off. As in, why not take the forks off? It's, you know, a bolt there and a bolt up the top. Put simply, just holds them in place. So I could do it another way, but I'll then be stuck with how I was going to move them around. So I've just masked out the bike complete, and we'll give it a go. Yeah, a bit of blue tack in the top just to make sure that I don't go into the fork with it. Now I'm going to try out Hammerite metal paint, so no need to prime or undercoat. Quick drying. I've not used this stuff before. It's a little bit Delvoye, it's a little bit, you know, straight tough black, but we'll see. Right, that'll do for coat one. Let that dry off a little bit. What does it say between coats actually? Light and even, 15 minutes between coats. Cool. Right, so that's good 3 coats. Getting pretty good actually. I'm pleasantly surprised. This Hammerite stuff seems to go on really quite thick. I can kind of see why Dell goes for the tough black on everything, because it masks a lot of sins. Yeah, I'm waving a torch around back here, but it's not really helping, it's in the shade. I'm just going to let that cure. I'm going to have a quick look to make sure we're good, and then just leave it to dry, I think. Concurrently, I'm just tagging the exhaust back on the other side, just while it still finishes off. It is dry, but there's still, because I've had to put this shit on so thick, it's a bit spongy in places, so just leave that a bit longer. Right, that's them stripped off. I think looking pretty good actually. So I've got to leave those to dry properly, because I need to force the gaiter guards over them, and obviously put the dust seal in. I mean, it's touch dry now, but not enough for me to put the mud guard and the other stuff on. I'm a bit bored, so probably a little bit premature, but proof is in the pudding. Let's just see if sealing that exhaust better has had any effect at all. So it's all cold. This is all the first time. Testing this quick because it gets warm very quickly. have a slight blow at the bottom end of that bowl, but it's considerably better than was. Still sounds like it's doing it to me. Still sounds a bit like it's still doing it a bit to me, but it's going to do better than was. I might just hoik it up and down the hill. I don't think I'm going to film it, but I'll see what happens. Yeah, well, impatience cost me there a little bit, I think, because you can see it ballooning out where it's trying to inflate, and it has had some give in it, but hasn't made a lot of difference. It was just bogging out still. So, carry on hitting the books, I think. I'm just trying to work out why it bogs out. I'm going to attach the Guzzi diag later on, see if that throws up anything new. Yeah, and maybe take some readings when it's running to look at whether or not it seems to be getting air. There was a comment from Dan Barnes over whether or not they were slightly balanced incorrectly. See if I can find it actually. Which might be part of the game, part of the problem. Throttle body's synced. Throttle body's been synced according to the software. I think they have. I have had the software running while I had it running, if you follow my drift. And it looked fine to me. It's another question about anything to do with the rev counter. No, it's I've commented on there. I have had it running with the Guzzi software running with it, and the revs were showing on the software. So the ECU's registering revs. It's just not showing on the instrument panel, which to me says it's something that this has come undone somehow, rather than it's not, or it's not receiving the signal, but actually it's certainly being generated by the ECU. Otherwise I wouldn't get a reading through the diagnostics port. He says confidently, that seems logical to me. I think that'll do me. I'd love to show you this all back together, but that's going to take a while to dry and cure, and I've got stuff to do. In fact, yeah, and what I might find that I have to do is just literally chuck the wheel back in now, just so I can put the bike away and just let it dry and cure. I'm going to be tight to get it all back on in the morning before work, so it might be an evening one this evening. But for now I'm just going to leave it out there to cure. I mean, it's touch dry, otherwise I wouldn't have taken the other stuff off. It's touch dry, but don't forget I've got to push down the guards, which I can't quite reach. Where are they? They're up there. I've got to push these down and on. I don't really want to be doing that on tacky or touch dry paint. I'd rather let it cure as much as I possibly can before I try trying to slide stuff over it, and I don't want to go putting the wheel on and mudguard on and everything and then try and squeeze that stuff down. That would just be a pisser. In fact, I won't end it here. I need to put that back together before I end this, I think, just for a sense of completeness. You might also notice he's got a big horn. I just had that lying around. I didn't like the little meh that was coming out of it before. Right, I'll jump you back in when it's all back together, which is probably going to be when it's dark. Right, and there we go. There's a few chores and a lot of drying time later, all torqued up and looking just better. That's all I was after, is better. It doesn't look perfect, but yeah, I'm happy with that. The way they looked before, it was just aging the bike, really, I think. Whereas that looks, less obvious. Right, cool. So, success with Blue. Just about to put him away. I do need to sort all this bobbling out, because I swear that's where all that vibration's coming from. It's bugging the tits off me. But because I'm going to have to take the front off and yada yada yada, that's a longer term bit. It's minging now, all that old paint come off, but I'll chuck a duster over them. Still going with Phoenix. I did ride it before it needed to be, because that needed to cure properly, but there were no guffs and puffs from that exhaust, so I don't think it's the exhaust. So it's one more thing rolled out, I suppose, and it gives me a week to piss around with suggestions and the like and work out what is actually going on. Maybe chuck Guzzy Diag on, and we'll start looking at some of it, well, I can looking at the airflows, etc, the rev counts, all that sort of stuff. Right, cool, that'll do me. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. More to come on this thing that's really kind of boiling my noggin at the moment. Cheers all, I'll catch you later on. Ta-da. Right, I'm trying to make extra spaces and everything, but I'm not trusting my life to what are in effect glorified fucking washers. New forks please, eBay. See if you can charge me through the fucking tits for it for a stupid mistake. Why on earth did I do that? I even fucking thought about it while I was doing it. But if I learn from it, it's not a mistake, right? Fuck. Just realised in my frustration I haven't actually talked through what I fucked up. Effectively, when I was cleaning the paint off the, I can only see the inside, the outside. When you paint off the inside, I think I've whittled down the actual free space between the two. So the brake, to start with, the floating disc pegs were tapping the frame. I've got it off the frame, but now it's tapping, or it's still tapping the inside. You can see the marks there of the brake caliper, and on the other side it's just grinding the brakes slightly, which is just going to ruin the brakes over time. So the options are either washer repair, washer out, bigger, oh fuck me, what are they called? I've just gone blank. Oh, I haven't got the right fucking page out anymore. Bigger badgers, longer, but I don't know how long, because I don't know how much I've actually taken off, or just new forks. And I think the answer is new forks, which is fucking irritating, and also not cheap. Arse cakes. Now here's a question. So I've packed out spacers, that was the word I was looking for earlier. I've packed out the inside. I can't believe I've taken that much off, but maybe a bit more on this side as well. And a tiny one on the other side. It seems sound. What do you reckon? Is that going to kill me? Let's see.